Hi, this is Jay Bucciarelli, and this is my game, The Summer Court, a fairy-themed social deduction game. Plays 4 to 8 players and plays in between half hour to an hour. So King Oberon is throwing a huge party to invite fairies to his summer court, and the objective of the game depends on which roll card you get. Which there's 8 roll cards in the game. The top 4 are the good fairies, the green cards. They win and lose together as a team. Goblin and Boggles are the bad fairies or red fairies. They win and lose together as a team. And Banshees and Pukas, if one of them wins, like say the Puka wins, all other players, including other Banshees and Pukas, they lose. So how does King Oberon get the word out? Well, he sends a lot of guest lists out, and that's what we'll be creating at the beginning of the game. Each player will be drawing, well, in this example for a 4-player game, each player will be drawing 8 cards and selecting 6 of them. So if these are my 8 cards, I am discarding these 2 face down, and this is my guest list. So with your guest list, once you have it, you'll notate it on your little guest list sheet here to match exactly, and you have to keep this secret. So once you fill it out, flip it face down. But there is some trickery at this event where while every player sends out a guest list, only one will be being played with. So as an example, once you're done, you'll flip your guest list, your roll cards of your guest list face down. You'll put your player color card, which I'm the blue player. I put it on top. And once all players have done this, now this is broken down in the rule book, but essentially you randomize them so you don't know which pile is whose. So randomize. Oh, let's play with this one. Whose it is? Whose is it? I don't know. Perfect. So once you have this, you take this card, you put it under the game board face down. This notates whose draft it is. And then of these cards, you shuffle them, you add the top 2 to these garden spots, and then there's 4 left, which is perfect, 4 players. So you shuffle that, and then everyone gets a roll card. So I am a Dryad. Perfect. Just to explain this a bit more, each player drafted something on their guest list, but you're playing with one, but you don't know whose it is. So a part of your goal is trying to figure out whose draft it is, because that'll help you better figure out what other players might be. So once this step is done, last player to watch a movie with a fairy, and it goes first, and they pick a player to share cake with. You're eating cake. It's a fun fairy party. So say someone picks me. I'll put down my little cake token next to one of these actions I want to use. There's 4 different actions, and based on the player count, there's a limit on how many times you can use each action. And for a 4-player game, that's 6 cakes. So some of these actions help you figure out what other roles people might be, what could be whose draft it might be. So a combination of those. Once 6 cakes have been played, so on your turn, you'll place one of your cake tokens next to an action. You'll use the action, then you'll pick another player to go, and each player only has 2 cake tokens, so that's a max amount of actions that someone can take in the game. So once you see 6 there, the last player the last player who went will get Oberon's wand. Now, Oberon's wand allows you to sort fairies. What does that mean? You can either welcome another fairy, banish another fairy, or arrest another fairy. And this links back to the objectives. Essentially, if you're a good fairy, you want all fairies sorted correctly. Now, that means that you want all good fairies or green fairies welcomed, all bad fairies, red fairies banished, and all wild fairies, yellow fairies, arrested. If you manage that, all good fairies win. Also, whenever you welcome a good fairy, you give Oberon's wand to them. A wild fairy wins if they get either welcomed or banished. If they get arrested, they lose and gameplay continues, but if they get welcomed or banished, they win immediately and everyone else loses. So good fairies, if everything goes right, they win. If a Banshee or Puka can trick the player with the wand to welcome and or banish them, they win. And essentially, bad fairies win if the good fairies mess up in any other way. As an example, they might welcome a bad fairy, or they might banish a good fairy. That would trigger the win condition there. Some unique things about the game is, well, based on your draft, it could be anything, right? You could have one good fairy and all bad fairies. And the good fairy, once they get the wand, they can win if they just banish everyone else. So usually in social deduction games, the majority is the good players. But in this, you could be the only good player. You can be in the minority and you can still win. Also, the selection of the draft. Players seem to have fun sort of picking their draft, whether they want to make it more chaotic, less chaotic. And another unique thing is like the end mechanic of Oberon's wand, where no one's eliminated during the game. All of the tension and buildup of all the information you've learned sort of culminates at the very end phase, where if I have the wand and I'm revealing people, it's like, flip, oh, thank God, good fairy. And then if they're good, then you realize that all the stuff that they've been telling about what they learned about their actions is true. So there's a build-up effect there. And yeah, that's my game, The Summer Court. Thanks.